And I would say you have to practice where you actually feel worthy. Now more than ever, Alan, I think so many things are self-worth.
I think some people have low confidence, and they need to take action and build confidence. They need someone to believe in them. Action is the cure-all. When you take action, you live in the truth. Action creates the truth.
If you have a hard time taking compliments, what can you do to improve that, especially if you don't believe the compliment you're given?
I had a client who came to me with that literally 3 days ago. It was Friday, so I think 3 days ago. Practice it. You know what it is? If you have trouble taking a compliment, you don't believe it. You just don't believe you've earned it. I think you're fearful that it's not true. This person that I was talking to, shout out to her, I'll keep it anonymous. She said, I thought they were faking. I thought they were telling me something that they didn't really believe to make me feel better. And I had a moment where I'm like, I don't feel like I've ever felt that way in my entire life. I don't think I've ever felt like someone was telling me something to make me feel better. And I don't even know what that means. But I remember thinking like, oh my God, I've never thought about it that way before. And you both were shaking your head like you felt that way. Like you think people are saying you look good just because they want to butter you up because you don't look good? Is that like a thing?
I felt that way.
Oh, I don't feel like I've...
You know the story I tell about getting rejected by the girl in the gym?
Yeah.
And she said like, hey, you're very handsome, but I have a boyfriend. I wonder if she actually thought I was handsome or she was just saying that to let me down easy.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
It all comes down to if you believe you're handsome, right?
I think I'm a
and
good
if you believe
individual.
you're beautiful, yeah, dude, of course, right?
But I didn't always.
Well, that's what it is then. That's my answer is. It's a reflection. It should be a mirror of your own belief or lack thereof.
That's a great answer.
Thanks, brother.
I would second what Alan said, and I would say you have to practice where you actually feel worthy. Now more than ever, Alan, I think so many things are self-worth. If you're unable to take a compliment, I think it's because at a deep level you don't believe it or you don't feel worthy of taking it. So if somebody says, hey, you look beautiful, and you don't feel worthy of that, I think that's where you have to start. Why don't you feel worthy? And what could you say to yourself that you actually feel worthy of? If we dig deep enough, anybody can give themselves a compliment. It might be something along the lines of, I'm easy to talk to. I'm a good listener. That's great. That's great. There's a lot of people out there who aren't good listeners. I'm an excellent listener. I make people feel safe, Alan.
Yeah.
I don't interrupt people on the podcast. Like that's
yeah, either way.
I'm just kidding. But that
I resonate strongly with that.
I believe if you look even at like a minuscule compliment to give yourself, that'll help you build. Just like anything else, start small.
Kev, you remember when we had I'm gonna blank on the name. She went abroad when she was 19.
Oh, that was Sarah Dodd.
Nope. I know who you're thinking of, but
Wait, hold on.
This was
Cheryl Hunter?
Yes, Cheryl Hunter. Cheryl Hunter talked about how she felt so broken and so worthless that she couldn't find anything. And she was crying talking about this on the podcast. This was way back in the hyperconscious days. And she said, I could only find one compliment to give myself. She said, I was kind. And that was it. And she said, that's how I built myself back up after that horrible trauma. So she was kidnapped and horrible things. But she said that was the only thing I could find. Is that I was kind. And she built from there. And eventually it was like, okay, I'm kind and compassionate. And okay, I'm kind, compassionate, and hardworking. And again, earning it. You have to earn it. I think we all know when we're full of it. Yeah. I know when I'm full of it on a deep level. Sometimes I can't tell until after. But I try really hard not to be full of it. I think it's important. I do. So anyways.
The fact that you remember the episode and what she said is quite impressive, I must say.
Oh, thanks, brother.
You're very welcome.
How can you drive to 5 between confidence and humility?
Action.
Yeah, son of a bee.
Yeah, gotcha.
Son of a bee.
Take action. If it goes better than you thought, you'll build confidence. If it goes worse than you thought, you'll get humility. I told Kev the marathon, I needed it. I need the humble pie. It's good for me. You know? Some people have so much confidence that they can They're very abundant in it, and they need humility. I think some people have low confidence, and they need to take action and build confidence. They need someone to believe in them. Action is the cure-all. When you take action, you live in the truth. Action creates the truth.
Yep. I would mirror that 100%. Action raises your awareness. And when your awareness is raised, I think that helps you level set everything. It helps you level set the truth. And when you know the truth, that I would say action. You just have to make sure the action is in the right size compared to your level of belief.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would say. But yeah,
Definitely.
action, 100%.
How do we know if someone is giving you genuine feedback and has your best interest in mind?
Intuition.
Jeez.
You can feel it. Sorry.
What are we playing, Family Feud?
Yeah, I know, right? Bing. Intuition. You can tell deep down. You have to ask yourself the question, does this person really have my best interest at heart? Deep down, I remember I was, in the past, one of my past relationships, it was very clear in hindsight that the answer was always no. That other person had their best interest at heart, not mine. And I think you know deep down. Just got to ask the question.
I would switch it. I'm going to switch it. I would say, one, I think it's important to have a deeper understanding that just because somebody wants to have your best interest doesn't mean they actually can. Doesn't mean that they're capable of it, depending on the advice they're giving you. I think that's one part of it. And then I think you have to look at the actions. We listen to people close to us, not always who has the right answers. Like, how many of us learned about money from our families, and how many of our families actually had money? Or how many of us learned about relationships from our families, and our families don't have great relationships? So I think you have to look at the track record too. Where's the proof? What would the Yelp reviews say about the advice that you're getting? I would say that.
Fire. It's a good analogy right there.
I appreciate that.
You're in trouble when Yelp doesn't exist anymore.
Well, yeah,
You know?
then you're in trouble. But until then, I think they're safe for a while.
Sounds good.
I just wanted to take a quick second and give a shout out and a huge thank you to Next Level Podcasting Solutions, Kevin and his team. They have been incredible to work with, very flexible, on the spot with any questions that I have or any concerns that I have. When I first started out my podcast, I was doing everything on my own. I have no editing background. I have no podcasting background. I knew nothing about it. And so I was bootstrapping all of this myself while I was still trying to take on my role as a full-time mom. And once I met up with Kevin and we had these discussions and I got on board with adding an editing team, oh my goodness, it just lifted this weight off of me. It lifted my time that I was spending doing my editing. And in the beginning, full transparency, when I was editing just my individual reportings, it was a little more manageable, not super manageable. And then when I started doing my interviews for the podcast, it was hours upon hours of me doing the editing that didn't include any of the promotional material that I am now getting from Kevin and his team. It wouldn't have been sustainable. I would not have been able to keep up with that. So I recommend Kevin and his team. They have done wonderful work in helping me grow my podcast. I have really enjoyed working with the editing team, and it definitely feels like more of a team environment versus me hiring them to do a specific job. I mean, we all work collaboratively on the projects that I have, and I have these crazy ideas sometimes, and they come up with a solution to fit my needs. I can't recommend them enough. I really enjoyed working with them. Kevin and the Next Level Podcasting Solutions, thank you so much for the work that you have done in the past and are continuing to do for me. I'm growing this community and growing this platform with a beautiful team that is working for me and with me to see my vision and help that come to life. So thank you again so much. I really appreciate you guys.
What pitfalls can one expect when trying to be both confident and humble?
Oh, let me hammer this one out. Let me get in here real quick. Beep, 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 beep. Number one, people probably will think you're arrogant. I think anytime you're trying to get more familiar with your identity and evolve and get to the next level, you're going to, I'm not going to say rub people the wrong way. You're going to rub some people a way they're not ready to be rubbed yet. And I think that is what Alan was to me in high school. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you were arrogant. It means I wasn't ready for maybe your level of confidence. And in my mind, it was like, nobody can be that confident. No way. But maybe you just were. You're pretty confident. You ran a marathon on 3 days' notice. Like, that's pretty cool. You know, that requires a level of confidence that, I don't know, I would say most people don't have.
In your defense, I was freaking out.
Well, yeah, nobody would know. Cool as a cube. So I would say that might be the biggest thing to expect is you will make some people uncomfortable, but it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, it means everything and nothing simultaneously. Like, it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong, and it doesn't mean that they're right, but it doesn't mean that you're centered. I think it gives you an opportunity. So when you get feedback, it gives you a really important, interesting opportunity to reflect and say, like, what does this all actually mean? That's what I would say. It gives you, the pitfalls are you're probably going to get some judgment, and you're going to get a lot of mirrors that you don't know what they mean yet. But if you keep going, you will eventually.
I'm going to tell a quick story, and I hope that this will help with whoever asked this question. And I'll keep it anonymous. I remember I was on a private Zoom call with someone, and I was contemplating this idea of, I was just starting to realize that a lot of people say they want to achieve things without actually intending on doing it. This was like fairly new for me, because for me, traditionally, growing up, whenever I said I would do something, I really did mean it. At very least, I'm going to at least try it. That's why the marathon in 3 days, like, I knew I'd at least try. I don't just say stuff and then not, like, want to actually show myself eventually that I'll do it. So this person who I was on the Zoom with has very low confidence in her own abilities in fitness. And so I asked her, I said, I realized that I don't think I can tell when people are really believing in themselves. I can't tell. I have trouble telling when people are serious about a goal. And we were going through her fitness tracker, and I was like, oh, you're off track. And I was like, oh, you don't think you can do this? It's like, you don't think you're going to be able to do this? And she's like, no. I said, can you do me a favor? Can you pretend for me for a second that you can actually achieve this? Like, just pretend you believe in yourself, and you know, just pretend. I literally had her do it, and I was like, oh, you sound like me. So no wonder why people think I'm full of it. Because I think a lot of people actually are faking confidence. And I think that there's truth to Kev, me being arrogant in high school, but a lot of that I actually intended on those things.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I really did believe those things to be true. And so this person who didn't believe in themselves and then pretended to believe in themselves sounded just like me. And I was like, oh my God, no wonder why people think I'm full of it. Some people, not everyone. But like, hopefully this can bring some value to the person who asked that original question. Everything is going to be a mirror of your own security or insecurity, belief or lack of belief, worth or lack of worth, everything. And if you look at things from that lens, if I say I'm going to do a marathon in 3 days, and honestly, I don't even know if it'll be that difficult, and that triggers you, then maybe you don't believe in yourself that much, and particularly maybe you're insecure about your own athletic abilities. And that's okay. That's totally okay. And it ended up being really difficult. The first half marathon was actually fairly easy in my opinion. The second half was horrible and ridiculously difficult. But everything's that mirror. What does this say about me? What does this say about me? That's where self-awareness is built. Instead of like deflecting and attacking and Alan's arrogant and Kevin's humble and blah, 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 let's just reflect. Like, where am I at? You know, that's where all the gold is, I think. All the gold.
I enjoyed this. 2020. It went by very fast. It's done, Alan.
We're done?
It's done. Can you believe that?
Sounds good.
It went by so fast. Next level nation. I mean this with humility, but again, this is something that is hard to say at times. I believe Alan and I can help you if you're watching this or listening to this at a deeper level than most humans walking the planet. Not because we know everything, but because we have studied this, and I believe we know our listeners at a very, very deep level. We know this community at a very, very deep level because for most of my life, I struggled with many of the things that our community struggles with. Join us for our 8th round of group coaching if you are trying to get to the next level of your life and you say, well, I love the podcast, I want to get more, and I can't necessarily afford one-on-one coaching. Let me check out this group coaching thing. Our 8th round starts October 4th, 2022. We're only taking 10 people, and we have 1-month payment plans, 3-month payment plans, 6-month payment plans. We want to make it affordable and accessible to everybody. So if you're interested, everything you need to know will be below and or in the show notes.
As you know, we have a book club. I already mentioned it on this episode, or the previous episode, rather. Dare to Lead by Brene Brown is the book that we're on right now. We're about to do part 2 of section... I honestly don't know. One second. Part 2 of section 5, which is living into our values. It's every Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a full hour. It's completely private. You do not have to participate. A lot of people do. There's really good contemplative questions in there. Brandon on the NLU team says, I don't understand. Like, more people should come to this thing. And we've got a good crowd, which is great. But he's like, it's basically free coaching. Coaching from Brene Brown. Coaching from a community of people who are going to contemplate these concepts. So if you want more self-awareness, this is what I'd say. If you want to get to the next level, you have to understand yourself at a deeper level. That's what this book club is about. It's extraordinary books with extraordinary people. Every single Saturday, we are about to do our 74th session in a row. So it's pretty cool.
My goodness. Next Level Nation, as always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Please reach out.
Bye.